Hi guys, I'm back again. I'm just trying to test out my camera on my laptop. I've got my phone working real hard at uploading some videos that I did earlier. So I decided to pick for my topic right now while I'm testing out the laptop camera. I wanted to talk to you guys about the First Amendment Audit videos. Have any of you seen these videos? Um, Leave me a comment in the comment section below and tell me some of the videos that you've seen and what you think of them. I personally am horrified over what I have been seeing in these videos. Like, I could not be a First Amendment audit photographer, videographer, whatever. There's just no way I could do it. I don't have patience for stupid people. And I especially don't have patience for stupid people who have power positions in their job. Like, wow. I never knew how many people are so oblivious to what their rights are. And I've never been so horrified to see how many people in official capacity don't know the actual law, don't know policy versus law, and don't know how policy can't trump a constitutional right. I think what trips me out the most about these videos are seeing people leave their job, like legit, walk out of their building, walk off of the property in which they work, and confront a complete stranger on a public sidewalk. Wow. Like, you seriously either got to be really effed up or feel like you are above any kind of law to treat other people that way for no other reason than seeing they have a camera in their hand. Like, I don't know what bothers me worse. The people who put themselves in this position to cause these kind of troubles for the photographer, or the law enforcement that shows up and tries to dance all over your rights even more. This is not a cop bashing video by any means. If anything, this is just kind of bashing anybody working in a public capacity and not understanding where your job starts and stops, and where your rights start and have no end because they're your rights. I've seen so many videos of cops showing up on the scene, tell the photographer, and this is on a good day, okay? I'm not talking about the ones that know what to do and say all the right things. I've seen so many cops look at the photographer, tell them that they're perfectly legal within their rights, and then not walk away. They'll literally continue a conversation with the photographer in a manner that if you were just Joe Blow off the street and you didn't really know your rights, you would think you were just being questioned and cornered by a police officer that you now are obligated to talk to. Guys, no, that's not the case. Most states are not stop and ID states. Excuse me. All this talking catching up to me. When a police officer stops you, chances are, more times than not, you are in a state that you are only legally obligated to provide identification if you are under arrest. At which point, you are now in state's custody, you have been arrested and detained, they have a right to ask who they're arresting. However, if you're a photographer on a public street and a cop just walks up and asks you for your ID, you don't have to give it. They have to prove you're doing something wrong. And if they can't articulate that what you're doing is a crime, they have no reason to ID you. If that were the case, if that were allowed, that would mean at any given time of your day, walking down the street, a cop could stop you and ask you. Oh. Whew. Sorry about that. I don't even know if I'm posting this yet, because I don't even know if the video quality on this is even going to be worth it. But for the sake of the figuring all this out, we're going to keep going. So what I was talking about is cops kind of overstepping their bounds when dealing with public photographers, i.e. free press. All of us with a camera in our hand, we're the press, okay? I definitely recommend, before anybody puts themselves in a position where they might be confronted by police officers, to know the law of your state, just to make sure that you're very clear on what you are allowed to do and what is considered an arrestable offense. Because at that point, once you've broken the law, the police have every right to ask you for your ID. What they don't have a right to do is just stop you, unless you're in a stop and ID state. And even then, I would imagine something would have to draw attention to you in order to be ID'd. In that case, I still don't understand how people are constantly having the cops called on them for being in public with a camera. It seems like it would be more of a public service for our public servants to know the law and redirect those who do not, versus being confrontational or showing up to a call over public photography and then trying to treat it like a traffic stop. Which means dispatchers should also know the law so that they know how to direct a call. I don't know what kind of rules they have, if there's certain things you have to say or know or do. I've never worked 911 dispatch. But it would seem to me, if I were working 911 dispatch and somebody called and said, I have a man dressed in camis with a mask on his face and a camera in his hand on a public sidewalk, and it's making me nervous. I don't know if I have a right to ask this question or not, because like I said, I don't and have never worked for 911 dispatch. But for me, I personally would want to tell this person, ma'am, or sir, or whomever, is this person committing a crime? Are they obstructing traffic? Are they harassing people physically as they walk by? Is he soliciting? Is he doing anything to warrant an officer to check into this? Because if what you're telling me is that you just simply have somebody who looks suspicious on a public sidewalk, I can send a unit out, but ultimately what's going to happen when they get there is they're going to tell you there's nothing they can do because it's their First Amendment right to be on a public sidewalk with a camera. I think if more people were privy to the law and understood how it works, it would almost eliminate this whole community of people who have to show you that this is a problem. I mean, that's the point of them doing these videos, is to show you how many people still don't know the law and how many people can still get railroaded and tripped over something that's not law. I've seen plenty of videos. I saw one video where a woman was outside, I think, a courthouse, and she was just filming outside the courthouse. She was on public property. The officer told her she needed to stop filming. And she said no, she wasn't going to stop filming, that she was on a public sidewalk. There was no reason why she even had to listen to what he was saying to her. And an officer was coming out of the building, and he looked at the officer and said, "Okay, I need handcuffs. She's not cooperating." They arrested her, confiscated her video, which had on tape everything that had just went down, showing that she wasn't doing anything wrong and that she was approached by an officer for no reason. When she didn't want to comply and show her ID for no reason, he arrested her. He threw her in jail. She was in jail for 2 hours and then was put in front of a judge. The judge let her go. I can't remember what happened the first time she was in front of the judge, but they let her go without filing any charges. But ultimately, the end result of that story was she went back in front of the judge, and they gave her back her phone or her camera or whatever it was that she was using. And the judge told her she had to delete what was ever on the camera. Like, before she could leave, he had to physically watch her go through the process of deleting what was ever on the camera. So she did it because she knew that was the only way she's going to be able to get out of the situation. But when she went to delete the information off of the phone or the camera or whatever, it was already gone. It was already gone. But she went through the process of deleting, I guess, to show the courts that she wasn't trying to have any funny business, that the footage was deleted. And then she went to one of those sites where anonymous and, auditors alike all want to chime in and help people in that situation. And they were able to recover the video, and which is the video that I saw online. I think it's still something in the process of being looked into and addressed further, like a lot of the videos that I saw. And it's just disappointing. Not so much that the people don't know their rights. It's even more disappointing that people that we have trusted to be our public servants, our peacekeepers, don't know or don't care about the law and will flex their muscle at any given opportunity. And it's a con game, really. And I never knew that before until I started watching these videos. Because if it wasn't a con game, and they really were all about the First Amendment rights, and not intruding on someone on public property for no reason, there would not be extra conversation. Oh, well, what are you out here filming? Just asking for my personal reasons. No, they're not. They're not asking for personal reasons. At this point, it is now a fishing game. And you can either decline or go along for the ride for a little bit. And most people will just give up their ID. Most people will just do whatever a police officer says because they're the one in uniform. They know the law. There's one thing I've learned about watching these videos is you do not have to be a police officer to know the law. And that as a citizen of the United States, it is your duty to know the laws of your city and state so that you're not pressured into a situation simply because of someone of authority has approached you. No police officer has a right to just approach you. I've saw videos of auditors going to police stations, because that's their thing. They go into public spaces and they record public buildings, or they will go into a public building and record government officials doing their job, which is your constitutional right. You are allowed to do that. So sometimes it doesn't take a police officer to get called to the scene. Sometimes it's the police officers all on their own coming out and walking up to a complete stranger on a public sidewalk for no reason. If you are standing outside of a police station taking pictures, you are not breaking the law. Therefore, a police officer does not have a right to ask you to identify yourself at all. Again, that's like a police officer just randomly walking up to you and saying, "I need your ID." Why? Can't answer that because there's no reason. And unless you're in a stop and ID state, you have the right to refuse a conversation with a police officer. Unless a police officer is dealing with you in official capacity and has detained you, you do not have to speak to a police officer. You don't have to give them any information. They're just like any Joe Blow citizen walking up to you at that point. They have no more of a right to walk up to you and question you for no reason than the person working inside the federal building does, coming out of their building, leaving their property, and then walking up to somebody on a public sidewalk. The fact that this happens, I'm just blown away. I'm not really surprised when it comes to law enforcement because we're just so far deep into a police force policing us that we don't question their presence when they're around. But in all actuality, we should be questioning their presence when they're around for no reason. I've seen many photographers get attacked by police, either verbally or physically, for filming a stop or filming a criminal investigation happening in the middle of a public street. They don't have any right to do that. You're not infringing on their investigation by being in the area. Now, if you're walking up to them, if you're engaging in conversation with them, if you're interrupting, if you're in the way and people are knocking into you and you're just fumbling around, okay, you're in the way, you're obstructing. But when you're 3-4 feet away from a situation and you have a camera in your hand, that is not a reason for a police officer to stop what they're doing and approach you and ask you for an ID. And every time I watch these videos, I'm just even more surprised than the last at how many people take advantage of their position and how many people don't really know that they have the upper hand in this situation and not the police officer. And again, I'm really not trying to bash police officers, but I am bashing the system because it's a system that runs things. Not just one officer, not just one police department. You have to get them all on the same page with the law to help avoid being taken advantage of by a police officer because you don't know the rules and you're thinking he's a good guy and he does. I personally have never wanted to stop in front of certain specific buildings to take pictures because I did think that I would be harassed or told that I wasn't allowed to do it. And I just assumed that it wasn't allowed. Kind of forgetting the whole, Constitution and my rights. Like, I do have rights. And by watching these videos, I have learned, as a photographer, if I'm out in public, on a public sidewalk, or any public access area, taking pictures, I am legally within my right to take pictures of anything I can see from that vantage point without being harassed by other people, employees of the buildings, or even the police officers. And so I just wanted to kind of come on here. Like I said, I'm trying to test out my camera on the laptop, and at the same time I figured I would just, upload a video in this format and see how it turns out. And this is just kind of what I wanted to throw out there. What do you guys think? Do you think that anybody who challenges a police officer when they feel like their rights have been violated deserve what they get. In a lot of these cases, the photographer walks away unscathed, not messed with, because a lot of these guys have been doing it for so long that once they see these people's faces, they already know who they're dealing with, they already know that they know the law, and they just, they're done. But I've also seen videos that go bad, and the photographer ends up being in a bad situation, even though they didn't do anything wrong. There's always two sides to every story. There's always stuff that happens before the camera starts rolling. But one of the big examples would be Jason Williams at the Oklahoma Walmart. I believe it was in Oklahoma. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But he's in a wheelchair. Now, I'm trying to get both sides in at the same time, even though I heard one side before I heard the other. I made sure I got both sides of the situation clear as can be before I venture into a public opinion on the matter. So I know that there's probably things that did go down that we'll just never know for sure because it wasn't filmed. But what we do know is, first and foremost, Walmart has a very shitty policy, okay? From their greeters being receipt checkers to carding everybody in a party in order to get cigarettes or alcohol. Walmart has a serious control issue. And I know where it comes from. I understand that Walmart is robbed daily. I mean, people shoplift out of that store like crazy everywhere. I mean, I'm certain some areas are worse than others, but most Walmarts have to deal with a high theft rate. And so I get why they're, the way they are, but at the same time, there's a such thing as taking things too far. And let's say I'm a single mom, and I've got 4 little rugrats and 1 teenager, and I want to go to Walmart, and I want beer. But because I have my teenage son with me, helping me with my smaller kids, I can't purchase that alcohol at Walmart because I'm with a minor who is not able to buy alcohol. These kind of policies are not going to stop Walmart from getting robbed daily. Some of these policies they put in place simply just to have some level of control over the consumer. Others they do to prevent theft, like putting spam behind lock and key, at least here in Hawaii anyway. You got to figure out how to keep your fucking business from being robbed. That's what you need to be focusing on. I know somebody who works in the electronics field. I guess that's a way to kind of sum it all up. And he installs cameras, POS. He does all of the stuff to make a business run technically. And he told me that Walmart has one of the most sophisticated camera systems, to the point that if I were to walk into Walmart and cause a total disturbance and get banned from every Walmart in the country, at that point, my face is recorded, and if I ever walk into a Walmart again, I will be immediately stopped and escorted off the property. If not, have the cops called on me to escort me or arrest me for trespassing. But y'all can't keep people from stealing spam out the damn Walmart. I just think Walmart's priorities are a little backwards in trying to run a successful business. And what it's really doing is generating a whole new generation of people who refuse to shop at Walmart. And I, for one, personally, would love to stop shopping at Walmart. I try very, very hard to not shop at Walmart, but it's the first store down the hill. It's the closest place to go. So I'm not trying to be a hypocrite in my standing on Walmart. Yes, I do shop at Walmart. And I have been affected by their BS policy of carding everybody in the party in order to buy cigarettes or alcohol. I was really mad, but I did it. Jason Williams, on the other hand, was not having it. He's in a wheelchair, partially paralyzed. Now, there's some discrepancy on whether he's a disabled veteran or a veteran who is disabled, because there is a difference. Some people have served their time in the military. They are veterans, but something happened to them afterwards, and now they're disabled. So sometimes when we throw those two words together, disabled veteran, it really stands to mean someone who was wounded in combat. But sometimes there are disabled people who were in the military, and those two things are not synonymous with each other. Maybe it was a car accident, a disease, other things can cause a disability. So I can't say for certain that I know he's a disabled veteran, but I do know he is a veteran who is now disabled and was partially paralyzed, could walk with a walker, but generally used a wheelchair to get around. He's in Walmart with his 17-year-old son, his wife. It's New Year's Eve. He's going to pick up champagne or wine or something to celebrate. The woman asks for not only his ID, but the ID of his wife and the ID of his son. When he questions why everybody he's standing with has to be ID'd, it became a very heated discussion. I can't say that I know what was said or what happened, but just based on everything that I've seen and witnessed on the video, it's probably safe to say when the woman wanted to card everybody, it made him mad. Y'all, being mad is not illegal. Just so you know. Just so you know. Being loud and irate and cussing at somebody is still not illegal. Now, granted, you could turn that into disturbing the peace and all that other stuff, but more so than not, saying ugly things to someone is protected under freedom of speech, unless you're threatening them, or, you guys know the rules already. I don't think I have to tell you. So, he's clearly mad. He asks to see the Walmart policy that states everyone in the party must be carded. Manager's like, okay, I'll go get you the policy. And she goes and calls the cops. The cops come. There's this roundabout for like 10 minutes on him giving the officers his ID. During this discussion, the man says that he'll leave the store. He's like, okay, if that's their policy and they don't want to sell me the alcohol, then my transaction is over and I can just leave. Officer's like, nope. They ended up pulling this man out of his wheelchair. 5 of them now. 5 police officers are on top of one man who's in a wheelchair. They yank him out of his wheelchair, throw him on the ground, and one of the officers, because you know how they do, puts a knee in his back, and they cuff him. The whole time, he is screaming in agony. Dude, I can't even watch the whole video. I have to either pause it or fast forward it. His screams. Oh, God, his screams. Sorry, that just gets me really choked up when you just even think about it. Rolls into Walmart, partially paralyzed. Leaves the hospital, permanently paralyzed from the waist down. He didn't do anything wrong. They colluded with the Walmart employee to get her to file charges. Once she filed a complaint, that's when he became someone who broke the law, and at that point he would have had to surrender his ID. That's not what happened. They collude with the woman. They get her to make a report. The whole scuffle happens. I don't know if he attacked the officer. Even if he did, he's in a wheelchair. He's sitting down. It does not take 5 people to subdue one man in a wheelchair. Okay? So the fact that they had to take it that far, when there was really no reason it should have escalated to that point. Once Jason Williams made the statement that if this is their policy and they're not going to sell me the alcohol, our business is done, I should be able to just leave, should have resulted in, have a nice day, sir. But cops will continue, not all, but some cops will use their power of authority and their little hurt feelings for being wrong, and instead of admitting, okay, I was wrong, instead of escalating a situation, it could have ended right there when the man said, I'll just leave. But I was under the impression she was going to show me their policy on this, not call law enforcement. You gotta know your rights. You gotta know what cops are legally allowed to do and not do. And up until they went and talked to the Walmart employee, and it's on the video, them telling her, if you do this, then we can do this. They could have de-escalated that situation by allowing that man to leave the store. He would have went home, he would have uploaded his video, he would have had a shitstorm of stuff to say about Walmart and their crappy policy, and that would have been it. But no. Paralyzed. All because he didn't want to show his ID to a police officer who really had no reason to ask for his ID up until the point where they got the Walmart employee to file a complaint. They charged him with obstruction. They charged him with trespassing. They charged him with what else? Failure to ID, I think. Not cooperating or whatever. Physically assaulting a police officer. And I'm just thinking to myself, wow. Peace officers walk into a building and could have easily de-escalated a situation in less than 5 minutes, turned it into an hour freaking sideshow, and paralyzed a man. So, yeah, not everybody who does these videos, and I don't even think he was doing this video as an audit. I think he was just going to Walmart, and once the situation escalated, he knew he needed to have video evidence, and he knew his rights as far as no breaking any laws. No officer has a right to just demand my information. Turns into arrested, charged with felonies, and now he's paralyzed. So, yeah, definitely know the laws of your state. If there's anywhere that you want to go to photograph or to watch police in their official capacity or whatever the case may be that you want to do, I would suggest going to the satellite city hall or wherever it is you have to go and making inquiries on where private property starts and public property ends, so that you're always protected by your First Amendment right on public property and you're not trespassing on private property that is an arrestable offense. But yeah, I just watched these videos, and it's really sad at how many people don't know their rights. And it's even sadder how many police officers are willing to take advantage of that instead of teaching the law and teaching the right thing. They continue down the wrong path just to save face and scrutiny and embarrassment. And quite frankly, if you can't learn from a situation, I think you should be embarrassed. If you just didn't know and you're just going by what you've always believed and you've been educated, you should say thank you for the education. Not, I'm going to now be a tyrant and I'm going to treat you like complete and utter trash. So yeah, it's horrible, and the whole situation with Jason Williams is horrible, and the whole situation with having to fight for the very rights we were born with is equally disheartening, because this is America, and this is what makes America what it is having these rights. And the more we allow anybody in any capacity to infringe on someone's right to just be in public, I mean, God, you really got to have some balls. You really got to have some sass in your ass to walk out onto a public street and just confront somebody for what you feel is your authoritative right when you have none. I don't see people leaving McDonald's and sweeping the sidewalk. So, you know what I mean? So why would anybody leave their job to harass or start an issue with someone on a public sidewalk and call it your job? It's not your job. Securitas, I'm talking to you. Not talking to just you, but talking to you. Y'all need to be treating your security team with the respect of knowledge and knowing that they're doing the right job and not the wrong job. And you might want to explain to them when they leave their job to harass somebody on public property. I'm pretty sure insurance doesn't cover that. So again, like, boundaries, people. Like, we still have them. We still have rights. The public streets and public accesses are for the public, and you should be able to be in a public forum without being harassed by security, police, or bystanders who are just ignorant to your rights and to the law. So, this is a way longer video. It's because I'm on my laptop and I didn't have my phone buzzing at me at the 25-minute mark. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to put that out there, add my 2 cents about the audits and how wonderful I think they are, and encourage anybody who has not seen any of these videos to look them up and watch them and educate yourself on, if anything, what's happening in the world and how it might one day directly affect you, and if it does, you're prepared for that moment. I've seen, these people go out of their way to draw attention to specific buildings to educate. But that doesn't mean it's not going to happen to Simple Simon, who's on a public beach taking pictures, and some woman halfway down the beach is like, I don't want you taking my picture. You're in public. You have no expectation of privacy in public. With that being said, thanks to all my First Amendment auditors out there. I think you're doing a wonderful job. And I, again, encourage anybody who has not watched these videos to check them out. And tell me what you think in the comments below. And I think this is going to be my last video for the day. So, 3 videos in one day. I feel really great. And that probably means you won't see me again until next week. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching as always, and have a blessed week.